This is Seeking the Word. In this episode, the reading is from Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 8. The intent is to read the text carefully and attentively in order to understand what's present in the passage itself without teaching or preaching. When man began to multiply on the surface of the ground and daughters were born to them, God's Son saw that men's daughters were beautiful, and they took them, and they wanted them for themselves as wives. Yahweh said, "My spirit will not strive with man forever, because he also is flesh, yet his days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on earth in those days, and also after that, when God's sons came into men's daughters, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Yahweh was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him in his heart. Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I created from the surface of the ground, man, animals, creeping things, and birds in the sky, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in Yahweh's eyes." The passage opens with population growth, describing humanity multiplying and daughters being born. This establishes expansion and continuity before an evaluation is given. Attention then shifts to a group identified as God's sons and their action towards men's daughters. The focus is on what they saw and what they took without commentary or judgment attached to the action itself. A direct statement from Yahweh follows. This introduces limitation, identifying human as flesh and setting a defined span for human days. The statement interrupts the narrative flow. The Nephilim are then introduced briefly. They are placed in time, in those days and also after that, and linked to the unions just described. No explanation is given or their origin or nature. They are identified by reputation rather than behavior, described as mighty men and men of renown. The passage does not evaluate them morally or explain their significance beyond their association with the period. The scope then widens beyond specific figures to humanity as a whole. Human wickedness is described in absolute terms, emphasizing its extent, continuity, and internal nature, focused on thoughts and imagination. The language shifts to Yahweh's internal response. Sorrow and grief are attributed to God in connection with the act of creation itself, not merely human behavior. A declaration of destruction follows, extending beyond humanity to animals, creeping things, and birds. The judgment is expansive rather than selective. The passage ends with a sharp contrast. A single individual, Noah, is named and favor is stated without explanation or elaboration. When I was reading this, what hit me first was how fast it moves. We go from humanity multiplying and spreading across the earth to God's regret almost right away. There's no long explanation, no slow slide laid out step by step. It feels like the situation's already bad by the time we're told about it, and then the text moves straight to Noah without stopping. The contrast's pretty sharp. Humanity's talked about as a whole, completely and totally. Wickedness isn't rare, and it's not just showing up on the outside. It's constant, and it's coming from the inside. And then, out of nowhere, Noah's named. Nothing's said about what he did or why he's different. He just is different. We're only told he found favor in Yahweh's eyes as far as the text goes. That's it. That one line's what sets him apart, and we're not told why, but I can see the distinction clear enough. I just don't know yet where it comes from. One thing that I really noticed this time was the Nephilim. They get mentioned almost like an aside, like, oh yeah, they were there too. The text connects them to what's happening, but it doesn't explain what to do with that. We're told they were mighty and well-known, but not who they really were, where they came from, or whether they were good or bad. Since they're mentioned at all, it feels like they matter, but the passage never tells us how. It's like a marker that something about this time for humanity is off or distorted, even if the text doesn't spell it out. God's response here also feels different from what we've seen before. This doesn't sound like correction or discipline. It's sorrow over creation itself. God isn't reacting to one bad choice or one act of disobedience. He's reacting to what humanity's become. When I think about this in light of humanity being created to steward creation, the decision to destroy mankind doesn't feel like punishment ramping up. It feels more like a reversal, like something's gone so wrong that it can't just keep going the way it is. God's sorrow is described in really human terms: grief, regret, pain. It doesn't feel abstract. The text asks me to sit with that sorrow and feel the weight of it, as the decision to destroy mankind stated, without explaining it or fixing it yet. That completes this episode. The reading will continue next time with the next portion of the text. This is Seeking the Word.